Hi, this is Gary Berger of Berger Law. I am here with my clients and friends, Brent and Shirley Buzzle. How are you guys doing today?
We're good, Gary.
Doing great.
How are you doing?
Great.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So now, how did you guys? Now tell everybody, how do we know each other, Buzz?
Okay, you and I have been diving buddies for several years. We both worked on the staff at Bonne Terre Mine and did a lot of diving together, a lot of classes together, training and instructing students in open water classes. And we've known each other for quite a while now.
Yeah, probably at least a decade, right? I think.
Yeah.
At least. And then
More than that,
and then I'd see Shirley, you know, from time to time at events or whatever. So
Yeah.
and then, you know, I'll never forget that tech class you and I did. Wasn't that great?
Oh, yeah, it was wild.
It was well, I kind of laughed because all the things I failed at and then got better at, but you know, that task loading and doing that stuff down, you know, at 100 feet in the dark, all that stuff.
I know.
completely crazy.
Yeah, you can't, you know, the hard part of that is not leaving your column by more than a foot up when you're doing these decompression stops and changing air and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Really task loading issues.
Yes, you're a much better instructor too than me. You're a lot more patient with these divers than I ever was, I think.
It's pretty much an act, Gary.
You know, I'm getting better. You know, I just kind of like, you know, I'm gonna, you know, you're gonna come with, I don't know. I'm nice and everything, but I'm like, you know, at some point, listen, either you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it, right? You can lead a horse to water.
It's hard to maintain sometimes. Yeah.
Well, but you've been you've been an instructor. You're a pilot instructor. You're a dive instructor. You've been teaching people a lot of complex things for a long time.
Correct. Yeah.
How long were you a pilot? How long did you work at training pilots?
Oh, I've been in aviation over 40 years, believe it or not. I flew the airline until 2000, the year 2000, and I went from being an airline captain to Flight Safety International, where I was a simulator check airman and a simulator instructor, and I did that for 21 years. And then I just retired last November, so I'm working on my skills at doing nothing.
Well, it's about time. You had a lot. So who'd you fly for before you retired as a captain?
It was Air Midwest was my parent company, and we were a regional airline. We flew, when I first came to St. Louis, we were still operating for Ozark Airlines. And then TWA took it over and I flew for TWA, and I missed the American thing. I got out before American took over. And I went to Flight Safety.
Got it. Who's easier to teach, pilots or scuba divers?
I'm going to get in trouble here, man.
I'm recording this.
Yeah, I know. I'm on tape here. I think it's about a wash. 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
You know, I know we settled your case. I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but one of the things, if you go to litigation, I tell people, you know, you can also not answer a question. Just because the question's asked, you can say, I don't know, or I'm not sure.
I'll take the fifth. Yeah, I'll take the fifth on that.
Right. Well, you've been married for a long time, so you're used to that, right?
I am. I'm very, very domesticated.
Oh, your wife is a joy. I was joking with him, Shirley. I said, you know, I want to have Shirley on this because everybody likes Shirley more than Brett. But no, just
you're silly. Thank you for that. That's nice.
Of course. That's called a backhanded compliment, right? And backhanded, you were a Golden Glove boxer back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's been the last time I was in the ring was in 1972, which I believe is also 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
50
now. 50. It's 2022. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Wow.
We've been married 47 this year in June.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
So he did it before then.
Yeah.
So tell me about so when you got in a car wreck, tell me about your wreck. Tell me about what happened.
Okay.
You start.
I'll start.
Yeah.
we were going on vacation and we decided we'd take the World Tour road trip. So we got in Shirley's Jeep Liberty and we were departing St. Louis. En route to San Antonio was going to be our first stop. Then we were going to drive out to the Los Angeles area to see our other kids, and then we were going to drive back. So we left that morning. It was a little bit rainy. We got down into the Lebanon, Missouri area and pulled over for a bathroom break and get some snacks. And I'd been driving and we swapped drivers, and Shirley got in the driver's seat. And we took off from the little gas station, and we had been about 10 minutes on the road again, and we approached a line of stopped traffic on I-44. So Shirley pulled in behind, and we sat there for approximately 15 to 20 seconds, and we were visiting, and we were rear-ended by a fella in a truck pulling a boat, I believe, or a trailer, and it just demolished the Jeep, and
Your
it
Jeep
knocked.
total.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was totaled. I had our little Yorkie in my arm, and it tossed him into the back, and it was a really, it was a bad crash. I knew it was a bad crash because that's like say the old Golden Gloves stuff. I hadn't been hit that good since the Golden Gloves. And anyway, it knocked Shirley momentarily unconscious, knocked her glasses off, and she turned to me. I'll never forget it. And she says, "He hit us." And I said, "Yep." And I said, "Don't move. For God's sakes, don't move or try to get out, because we could have internal injuries." And I started, I wiggled my toes a little bit and I wiggled my fingers. There were shards of glass everywhere. I was bleeding down my arm, and my door was crumpled up. I said, I'm afraid my neck is broken, you know. So I sat real still, and our poor little dog was just, you know, that's the guy I was worried about. I thought it probably killed him, but fortunately he landed in the back and it didn't hurt him. It was, the impact was such that when he was perched on my forearm, it turned my forearm black and blue and cut my forearm all up where he had been sitting, and launched him into the back. The state trooper that arrived said he couldn't say how fast the gentleman was going, but he estimated somewhere between 40 and 70 miles an hour, probably toward the higher end of that. So I think in retrospect, you know, thank the good Lord above that we survived the wreck.
And we had our seatbelts on.
We had our seatbelts on, and
Yes.
but yeah, we got hurt, and they took us to Lebanon Hospital, and I remember them. They had to jack the door open to get me out, and they put me on the gurney and put me in the ambulance. And a really sweet nurse says, "I'm going to give you some fentanyl." I said, "Hey, if I had the choice, I'd rather have morphine." And she says, "Okay, morphine it is." And I said, "Well, give me a double." And so we went down to the hospital in Lebanon, and those folks were gracious enough. They let us take the dog. Shirley didn't get injured as badly as I did. So they took us down there, did a CT scan. They hauled the Jeep off to the junkyard, and they did their thing at the hospital, and they said, "We don't see anything broken, and you guys are good to go." And the only problem was I couldn't walk and I couldn't breathe. Shirley was kind of walking, and
I couldn't hardly walk
Yeah.
either, because the back of my calves were bruised. Yeah.
but
You know, having done emergency responder training with you also in 02 and stuff, you know, as dive masters and as instructors were trained to do that you got to, but and we know, so, you know, in the acute emergency care, they're handling the acute stuff, and then, but that doesn't mean that you're fine, right? So, I mean, you went through treatment for a long time to try to get you back to baseline,
Yes.
so to speak. And so did
Yes.
Shirley. Can I, but before I ask you that, can I ask Shirley, what was your experience in recovering from your injuries after this wreck?
Well, actually, I wanted to go back to the accident because what happened was it had been raining all day. And when I started to drive, it started to clear a little bit, but the traffic had been stop and go most of the day or the morning. And then when we came up on this column of stopped cars, we came behind a truck and stopped. And then the person hit us from behind. And luckily we had our seatbelts on, but it flipped my glasses clear off my face, threw them back into the back. And I was looking up and we were headed to the ditch on the left. And so we pulled back over in behind, into the other lane of traffic. And I think he was pushing us forward because we had been stopped, but he pushed us forward. And then an angel stopped and helped us get over to the right side of the road because the traffic column started moving forward. And we were able to get back onto the side of the road, luckily, and out of the way of traffic. But anyway, I got bruised behind my legs and it was really hard to walk. And so recuperating from that was going to the physical therapist. And also I had a stiff neck for a little bit too. And so we had also gone to the total access urgent care, and they had done some access, or they had looked at everything that was going on with our bodies and everything too, and decided I had just maybe a little bit of whiplash in my neck, but it didn't last very long. And
that's your ferocious guard dog, right?
I know. The physical therapy was good because they did electric shock on the legs and did some massaging and did a spinal adjustment. And we went several times to that. I was not hurt as bad as Brent. He had definitely injured his back somehow. And
Shirley attends a much better church than I do.
Is that what it is?
That's what
you don't go together?
Of course we do.
I know. Maybe you pray more than him. Are you?
Anyway, I think so.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Got better connections, Gary.
And he has much better way of telling the story than I do too. But anyway,
you guys
it was
are
an
both
awful
great.
time.
Yeah, and so Brent, tell me about your experience. How did you tell me about your recovery, your road to recovery after this?
Okay, it's been a while. It was tough because it smashed up my back enough and separated my ribs and stuff. It was difficult to breathe for a long time. Difficult to stand up straight. We got home and
our neighbor brought us home.
Yeah, we were fortunately. I had never realized just how out in La La Land you are. We had no support down there, and thankfully one of our neighbors came and got us. But in any event, we got home. We were there 4 days at home, and I thought, well, I'm hurt, but what the heck? We've still got the vacation time, so I called Southwest and was able to get some tickets. And like a knothead, we went out to the airport and I couldn't walk, Gary. I'm shuffling along all beat up, and I learned an important thing. I went up to the counter and the woman at Southwest Airlines said, "Sir, would you like a wheelchair?" And I said, "I would love a wheelchair."
Yeah.
And they wheeled us to the airplane. We were able to go see our kids and go to LA. And I was a mess because I had to be in a wheelchair everywhere, but they, by golly, wheeled us around the airports. And we're so gracious about that. So from now on, if I ever fly Southwest, I'm going to just go up there and roll around on the floor a little bit, and hopefully they'll run me around.
Walk up a little limp. Yeah. Look like
but
a wheelchair.
But as far as the recuperation, the guys down there at the spinal clinic were just fantastic. They did manipulation. They gave me injections in the back. To this very day, I've got back problems that were accelerated by that accident. And it accelerated my retirement because it was difficult to get in and out of the simulator. And I mean, I was looking at retirement anyway. I'm 70 years old, but it made my mind up to get out sooner. And we're still recuperating, quite frankly. We're going to the gym. I'm trying to rehab my back and gain strength in my legs. It kind of jacked up my left leg. And but I just thought those guys were fantastic. I think you guys have been fantastic.
Yes.
I don't know anything about the legal system. I just knew my daughter had been involved working for an insurance company. And after this happened, she said, "Dad, you better get a hold of an attorney." And I said, "Well, I know just the guy." And so here we are.
I was pleased to get the call. I knew, like, we got a lot of divers we dive with. We kind of know we're kind of close because we do a lot of hard stuff sometimes diving. And I knew you had gotten in it, and I kind of knew, but I was happy to get the call and happy to help. What I like, the challenge in, the from the legal side, of course, the guy who hit you didn't have the greatest insurance. So we got all the money we could from that. And then we did what's called an underinsured motorist coverage claim. So we recovered more money for your injuries from your insurance company. Were you happy with the recovery we got for you guys?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. Gary, anything that helps pay the bills and helps with future, things. You did wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Did I interrupt you?
Nope.
What
That was it.
Anything you guys, I know what I want to ask you what you learned from this, or is anything you didn't know that you now know from going through it? We already got one, is when you go get on a plane, limp and pretend you're hurt so you can get in a wheelchair. What else did you learn? What else
That's
did you
important.
learn?
I think if I was to get in another accident, God forbid, I'd be on the phone to you immediately, because I don't mean this to sound bad, but I think the insurance companies are very, very self-interested, and they're going to pay you the very minimum they can do as a business practice. So I think you were essential in us getting really what we should have gotten out of that for our injuries and for being rehabbed. And I never got into this thinking, oh man, we're going to get rich. I just wanted to be fair.
No, you handled it yourself for a long time. I mean, you did. I mean, not yourself, but you weren't jumping to make a claim. Let's put it that way, right?
No, I would have liked to have gotten the officer's name and the name of the person that hit us. And I would have liked to have asked them how they were. I think that they got hurt too. And that I wish I would have said, hope you're okay and all that. Yeah.
Right. Great. Well, so would you recommend Burger Law to other folks?
Oh,
absolutely.
Gary. Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
Well, it's really been a pleasure helping you guys. And, I also am looking, we're able to completely resolve this case within, did this incident happen in July of last year?
Yes,
July
it did.
1st.
Yes, it did.
So it's now, so we're able to, you've got all of your treatment, you're totally done. And it's almost May, but so within a year, within 10 months, we're able to completely resolve your case. So with the level of injuries and the severity of the impact, to me, that's pretty good turnaround time-wise.
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. I thought this thing could drag on for years.
Right. Well, we pushed it, the uninsured, here's the other thing that people don't know is, you're talking about insurance companies acting for their own self-interest, and it is true. My joke is it's insurance companies, their job is to take premiums and deny claims, right?
Exactly.
So people think, the other thing people think, and I just did some videos for my website on this yesterday about when to get a lawyer and stuff. People think that just because, like, an uninsured motorist claim is insurance that you guys buy as part of your auto insurance. So if someone hits you, and they don't have enough insurance, or they are underinsured, that you have enough coverage to cover your injuries and damages. And you guys know this because you've been through this, but the thing that people think is that if it's my own insurance company, they're going to treat me right and they're going to pay me a lot of money, which is totally the opposite. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had this call. Well, people are like, well, it's my insurance company. I'm like, no, we got to file suit in a lot of these cases. We got to push them. So we fought that uninsured, and they totally refused to. Shirley, they refused to pay you anything. And I just told them, I said, I'm not selling this uninsured claim unless you do something for her. Now, you weren't injured as much, your damages weren't as much, and I think we got a good recovery, and I think it went quick, if all things considered. So I was happy to get you guys this resolution.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah,
We
you
really
did.
appreciate it.
You
And
guys are
you're right,
fantastic.
the insurance company doesn't look out for us. That's for sure.
Yep. Well, listen, thanks a lot for talking to me today. I'm going to stop recording this. All right.
All right,
Okay.
sounds good.
Thank you.